Hello Orchid friends, welcome back to my channel. Wherever you are, I hope you're having a great day, staying healthy and staying safe. Today in this video, we're going to look at one of my Phalaenopsis Sogo Vivien. It's the one on the right. As you can see, I have a total of 3 in my collection and they're all in 3 different setups. And today we're talking about the smallest one that I purchased while I was on vacation in Los Angeles a couple years ago. This bloom is the second rebloom since I purchased it, and it's done quite well. It's pretty much the same as last year's bloom because it's still a relatively small size plant. I got it for I think $6.99 from Home Depot. It was on vacation that I purchased this orchid, so as soon as I took it home, I repotted it, and it has been in this semi-hydro setup since. And you can see it's got roots at the bottom of the cup, so it's great. I love seeing that in semi-hydro setup because that way I only need to make sure that the orchid has enough water at the bottom so that it would give me that wet dry cycle of a week. I don't have to fill up the water all the way to the drainage hole. For example, if I gave this orchid quarter cup, it would probably only fill about a third to maybe half, and if I gave it 1/8 of a cup, it would literally be like just a quarter of the reservoir that's filled. And that gives me great flexibility in terms of the water amount that I want to give this orchid for a particular watering cycle when there are roots reaching the bottom. So this orchid also is interesting that from the price standpoint, I got it for $6.99, and I've seen this type of orchid going for $20 or $25 on eBay. This is of course a couple years ago, and I haven't really been on eBay to look for orchid prices for this particular type, but I remember thinking to myself a while ago that this orchid for $20 I probably would never pay such price for it, and because I have been able to get these type of orchids from Home Depot or grocery stores for under $10, so I just wanted to point that out and give you a price point reference in case you want to get a orchid like this, but then you see people charging $25, $30 for it. You can make that decision for yourself if you want to go for it. And of course, later in the video, I will give you a side-by-side comparison of the 3 orchids, the same type but different sizes and in different setup. So stay tuned for that. But back to this little orchid. This is the smallest of the 3, but the care, there's no different. I give this orchid quarter strength fertilizer, and then depending on the humidity and the season, I may adjust the water amount that I give to this orchid, and it's between quarter cup to 1/8 of a cup. And at the end of the month, I usually would also fill up the water to about 80-90% just so that I can soak this orchid really well. And the purpose is not to necessarily hydrate this orchid. It's really to dissolve any salt buildup from the fertilizer, and also just to wash away any type of dead tissues or even bugs if there is any. So that's what I do for this orchid, and so far this orchid has been pretty hardy, very easy to care for. So if you don't have this one and you can see one and easily get one from your local groceries or nurseries, definitely get one. I think it's a really nice one to try out. Also recently, I have seen the same type of orchid with the same leaf irrigation, but the flower is completely different. So it's a different type. It's not Sogo Vivien anymore, but it's Sogo something. I just can't remember the name. So, but that group is specifically an orchid group from Asia, and they posted similar photos in that Facebook orchid group. So I don't know if it's publicly available, but I suspect that I anticipate that cross to come to the US, in the near future. So just keep an eye out for that. It will be completely different color, but then the leaves is similar to the leaves of Sogo Vivien. I normally do not like to have the same type of orchid, have multiple of the same kind of orchids, but I've made an exception for this particular cross because I was able to get them for a very, very reasonable price. I think all of them were under $10, and they are of different sizes. I have mid to large size one, a small one, and then a miniature one. Or you can say, small, medium, large. And they're all in different setup. And because I got them in different situations, so there you go. I have 3 of the same kind of orchid in different sizes, different setup. Otherwise, typically, I try to keep 1 cross per orchid in my collection so that I can have variety and enough space for other orchids. And here, the bonus footage. Now, this is where we talk about the 3 bloom, 3 of them in bloom side by side. Obviously, today we're really talking about the one on the right, which is in semi-hydro. It's the smallest of the 3. And it doesn't have as much root system as I would like it to have, but it has enough roots to reach the bottom that gives me that flexibility. So I think I'm going to keep that orchid in the same setup. Hopefully it'll grow more roots and be more established. But the one in the middle is a traditional clay pot setup, and the medium, or I should say media, really is a mixture of bark chips, sphagnum moss, maybe some rocks, lava rocks, river rocks, whatever I had at the time. I just put it in, and that's that one. And then the one on the right, the one on the left, the largest one is the latest acquisition, but it had rebloom. This is the rebloom already. It's not the bloom that came with the purchase. It's the largest one, and it's still in its original media. So it's a mixture of bark chips and sphagnum moss. The media looks quite okay to me, so I think I will keep that one, leave it be and not repot until I have to, which I anticipate that to be maybe 2 years later. So overall, I think Sogo Vivien is a really hardy cross, and if you can get hold of one for cheap, definitely give it a try. This is all I have for you today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to get more orchid related videos from my channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification. I want to wish you happy growing, and I will talk to you in my next video. Ciao!